Hi everyone, this is Kate with some microphone tips and some common problems you might run into when setting up your microphone. So no matter what track you're in, you received either a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone for use during camp. If you're a Beats camper, you received an audio interface, which among other things basically allows you to have a volume knob for your microphone. But if you don't have an audio interface, you don't have this volume knob. So you have to go into your computer system settings in order to change your levels. Changing your levels is important because when recording, some instruments are louder than others. A drum set is going to be much louder than a guitar amp, so you need to turn the mic levels further down for a drum set. It's easier to be too loud than it is to be too quiet. Your bandmates will tell you if you're too quiet. If your audio recording is too loud, you can irreparably damage it. It's kind of like a pair of glasses that you scratch. If they get dirty, you can clean them up again, but you can't really ever take the scratches out. So let's check out how to change your input level settings in different computers. We'll start with Windows. Go down to the Windows icon and either click on Control Panel or search for Control Panel. Go to Hardware and Sound, click on Sound. You'll see your playback and recording settings. These are my default devices before I plugged anything in. Let's see what happens when I plug in a snowball microphone. It pops right up. If I double click on it and go to levels, I can turn it down or up. For drum kits, we recommend 50 to 60. For guitar, bass, and keyboard amps, we recommend anywhere from 60 to 75. And if you're just talking or singing quietly, anywhere up to 100 is probably good. Feel free to play with your levels of your microphone to get the best recording. To get to your input settings on a Mac, click on the Apple and then go to System Preferences. Click on Sound, and then you can see your input and output devices. Before you plug anything in, make a note of what your default or built-in microphone is named. That way, you can tell it apart from things that you plug in later. You can change your input volume here, and you can check how loud your mic is here. If it's in these top two bars, it's probably a little too loud. If you're using a Chromebook, go down to your sidebar, and you can see your volume with a little slider here. If you plug in a set of headphones, you can see this little icon pop up. Click on it, and you can open the audio settings that'll show you the devices that you can choose for input and output. You don't have a whole lot of options to adjust things here, so the best way to get a good mic level on a Chromebook is just to get a good distance from the mic. Speaking of distance from microphones, let's check out a dynamic microphone. With a dynamic microphone, the easiest and quickest way to change your mic level is just to get some distance on it. If you're going to be singing pretty loud, you can bring the microphone pretty far away from your mouth. If you sing super loud and your microphone is really close to your mouth, the recording is probably going to be too loud. But if you do want to get really close, you can get really quiet and you can hear everything that I'm saying. A dynamic microphone is just that, has a lot of range. So play with it. On the other hand, this is what the snowball condenser mic sounds like. I can comfortably sit somewhere, anywhere in my room, and my band can still hear me. However, the microphone also picks up other things, like your fan of your computer and the dog barking across the street, and other things. Condenser mics are useful though because you'll be playing things like instruments and you won't be able to be super close to a microphone right up in your face. With a condenser microphone, you can move around freely. If you're singing into a condenser microphone, you'll still want to give yourself some distance from the microphone. And again, feel free to play with the levels. You may have gotten a dynamic microphone with an XLR to USB cable. Let's see what happens when we plug that in. In Windows, it shows up as 2 USB audio device. But it also shows up in playback as speakers, which is a little silly because I can't hear anything out of this microphone. Anyway, I think it's best to disable the speaker function of this microphone, just so your computer doesn't get confused. If you right-click on it and click Disable, it won't try to set this microphone as your speakers again. In recording, you can tell that you're getting a signal because there will be some green bars that show up like this. Let's see what it sounds like when I change over to this microphone in my program. This is what the dynamic mic sounds like with the USB to XLR cable. Sounds pretty good, right? Almost like a podcast or a radio show or something else nice. One thing you might notice when you're talking into it, though, is that you can't hear yourself. You might think the mic's not working, but it is. If you double click on it and go to listen and click listen to this device and then apply, you can hear a little echo of your voice going through the microphone, through the cable, into the computer, and out through your headphones. The reason there's a delay is because of a thing called latency. It's actually really difficult and confusing to try to talk like this. Give it a try, it's kind of fun and hard. If you click listen to this device again and then click apply, then it will stop the echo. This is just so you know that your mic is working. I'm not sure how it works on a Mac and a Chromebook, but if you can see input levels here when you're talking into your microphone, and you can see your input levels here when you're talking into your microphone, then you can tell that it's working. If you want to test it out just to make sure, you can always add a new track in Soundtrap. Click on Voice and Microphones. Make sure that your device is selected that you want, and click Start Recording. I like to hear my own voice in the microphone. Here I can see that I definitely did record something, and I can just make sure that I like how it sounds. To hear my own voice in the microphone. One more thing. Remember when we took note of what our original device was that we were using? Mine was called Focusrite USB. If you're ever having problems in Zoom and you don't know why, try clicking on this little arrow and making sure that your correct microphone and speaker are selected. And that's it. Have fun, get loud, and let the mic levels help you sound great.